All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dids in the Dugout. Me and Hitch are back once again, like we are every single weekend after series ends, for the weekend recap. And this one is going to be a lot more enjoyable than the previous few we have done. The Rebels with a big run rule here on Sunday with the Will Furnace walk-off home run in the seventh to beat Mississippi State 14-2 and take the rubber match and take a series from Mississippi State for the first time since 2015. And Hitch, this was a big one. Rebels really, really needed to take two this weekend. They got the job done.
Yeah, it really felt like a must-win series, a couple of must-win games, and they came through. I mean, we'll get into it, but that game last night was it just felt like we have to win this game. Like every time we took the lead, it was like, we have to win this game. We have to win this game. And then the same thing for today. Right? Once we jumped on them, it was like, okay, don't let up and let's win this thing. And so, yeah, like you said, it's a lot easier doing these on these weekends than it is on the weekends we get swept.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's go ahead and dive into it, though. Friday night, obviously a pretty poor effort from the Rebels there. We end up losing 8-0. And look, one really good thing to take out of this game was Riley Maddox was incredible once again. I know his line doesn't show it when you look at it, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 6 runs, and 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. But going into that sixth inning, he was really cruising. Ole Miss was only down 1-0, and he goes back out there and just kind of loses his stuff a little bit there, and everything kind of unravels from there.
I think, and see, I wouldn't have run him back out there. I think this is something that aggravates me about Coach Bianco. Sometimes it feels like he runs guys back out there to start an inning. When maybe it's better to hand the ball off to the next guy. Like I think he did it with Liam Doyle last Saturday or last Friday, I guess, against Arkansas. And it just, not only did he run him back out there and give up the home run, which I thought was a routine pop-up to center field.
But
then he let him pitch a few more batters, and just it felt like you said, his line does not represent how well he pitched for 5 innings.
He was really, really good again. The
story of the night, though, was Cal Stevens. I mean, he was unbelievable,
incredible
with his with his fastball. And that's the first time I
ate us up with his fastball.
That's the first time I'd seen him pitch, and man, he was very impressive with his location. And just, the strikeout numbers, right? He struck out 9 guys.
Without walking a batter.
Pitches, right, without walking a batter through 8 innings, 94 pitches, and no earned runs. Just it didn't really matter because the offense wasn't getting anywhere with him.
That's kind of the thing, and the offense didn't put up much of a fight there. Only 3 hits, no walks, like we said, 9 strikeouts, 94 pitches to cover 8 innings for Cal Stevens. So very efficient outing for him. And then when they brought in Tyson Harden there to finish it out, it was already out of reach. It was an 8-0 game at that point, so they were getting out of there. But again, I think one of the things to take away from this was the Riley Maddox outing. Gunnar Dennis came in and pitched pretty well. He's got some stuff he's got to figure out, obviously, but it looks like Mike's going to try to use him as one of the multi-inning guys out of the bullpen, at least for now. Looked pretty good Friday, and of course we're going to turn around and see him and talk about him again here when we get to the Sunday games. He came back in a really, really big spot for Ole Miss there, and ended up walking in 1 run on Sunday. But overall, I think probably a pretty encouraging weekend, I guess is the way I put it, for Gunnar Dennis, just from the standpoint of maybe there's a role getting carved out for him to where he can help this team, even though he's not starting on the weekend anymore.
Yeah, I think just him coming in and pitching on Friday night and not getting run ruled, right? Like there were a couple of times There were a couple of times Friday night where I was getting ready to send out a tweet that said something to the effect of, we have to be on pace for setting a record for being run ruled this year. Like, it feels like we have been run ruled at least once every series, sometimes twice. But it felt like every inning, every top of the inning, guy would go out there and they, turned the faucet off after the whatever it was, fifth inning or sixth inning. And they didn't let State score any more runs, which, doesn't seem like a huge thing in the scorebook. But I think that had that been a run rule, if we'd have gotten run ruled in the seventh there, I don't know if Saturday and Sunday happened, because it's demoralizing at that point. Because going into the sixth inning, it was 1-0, right? It was 1-0 all of a sudden, right? It's 8-0. And so I think it's a big deal that guys like Mitch Morrell and Gunnar Dennis, came in to keep that run rule from happening. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't want that to go unnoticed, because I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, and look, there's just kind of to your point, it is demoralizing, especially as many run rules as we've had over the past couple of weekends. 2 in Kentucky, and then or 2 in Tennessee, and then you get run ruled by Kentucky and Arkansas as well. So definitely big to keep the run rule out of it at that point. And it's demoralizing for fan bases too, right? You need to keep interest in this ball club, and to Ole Miss's credit, I think they've done that. Now, they had to have a weekend like this weekend to get that done, to keep fan interest in it, but it goes to show how much this fan base truly does love baseball. To hang with these guys, and I thought it said a lot, not so much on Friday, but as we get into the Saturday game, seeing the way these guys bounce back. That was 8 straight losses. You're going up against your in-state rival who you haven't taken a series from since 2015. You're already down 1-0 after getting blown out and shut out 8-0 on a Friday night. And then you got Liam Doyle going in right here, man. And I said after the very first pitch of the game, the very first pitch was a letter high fastball that was called a strike by the umpire. And I said, okay, Liam's about to get on a roll here today. And boy, he really, really pitched good for about 4 or so innings there for us. He was really rolling.
Yeah, it's another one that his line really doesn't represent how well he pitched. Look, he got to dancing and clowning out there. And, man, that I was jumping up off the couch. I loved it. But, he was just – he was doing what he does best, getting ahead, throwing a lot of strikes, riding that fastball up in the zone, getting swings and misses or, weak contact. And then he's got that splitter that he'll drop in there on guys. And I think if memory serves me right, Dakota Jordan's second at bat, he started him out with, I call it a changeup. I guess it's a splitter. He started him out with that pitch. And man, I thought Dakota Jordan was going to screw himself into the ground trying to swing at it. But, I think Liam Doyle, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, only 2 earned with the 9 strikeouts and 1 walk. Right?
Yeah.
He threw 85 pitches, but I really think that he made some big pitches in situations that got us out of innings. And his line, just like Riley Maddox, is not representative of how well he pitched and kept us in the game.
Yeah, and he didn't get a lot of help behind him either. There was the error in the first inning that ended up not coming back to biting him. We ended up getting out of it there. But then you get the 2 pass balls from Trenton Lyons, and then the throw from Luke Hill to Jackson Ross, which is perfectly fine throw when you have to come up with there, that Jackson doesn't come up with. It extends that inning. Just more defensive miscues by this Ole Miss team. And just from my standpoint, while all this is happening, coming off of an 8-0 loss, losing 8 straight, and then seeing the defense really let us down like this in the first half of this game, talk about demoralizing. You're thinking, Lord, how do you get to this point as a baseball team that this stuff is what keeps jumping up and biting you over and over and over again? Pass balls, just not catching a ball over at first base, the little things. But they ended up hanging in there. Josh Mallets comes in, gets us out of a jam, even though he gave up a run over an inning and a third. Josh Mallets, maybe we should talk about him for a second, Hitch. He hasn't looked quite as crisp as he obviously was pre-surgery, which I think that's not a surprise. There's always going to be some sort of adjustment coming back. Fastball looks good, but the slider looks a little more loopy than it has in the past. It's not near as crisp, and people are able to tee off on that thing a little bit. It'd really be nice to get Josh going the way he was before the surgery.
Yeah, it really would. And, the thing about him is, that slider's coming, right? Like he throws it probably more than he does his fastball.
He does,
and
yeah.
So, it's one of those things that if it's really working, it's really working. And here lately, it hasn't been biting as well as it has in the past. And he's been touched a little bit. But, he gave up the one run. But his thing seems to be a little bit more about control, than it is guys barreling him up. And I think that comes from him relying on that slider and it not being necessarily a pitch that you want to throw for a strike a lot. And guys are able to pick it up, see that it's the slider, and they're able to lay off of it. And then he may get into trouble because now he has to come into the zone with that fastball. And so, but all that to say that what I noticed this week about this pitching staff is that when they throw strikes, they throw the baseball in the zone. They're pretty daggum good.
They're really good.
And that's the thing. We just got to get guys to throw it in the strike zone.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of speaking from my standpoint. I'll go ahead and speak for you too, because I'm pretty sure you share the same thing with me. That's what's been so frustrating with this team the last few weeks is the talent's there. Particularly on the pitching staff there. We've talked all year about how deep we feel this pitching staff is. We've got hit by injuries and stuff like that. But guys have the stuff. They got to get in the zone and quit getting themselves in bad situations. Get ahead of the count. Don't put runners on base. And that's one thing that this pitching staff, particularly on Sunday, did a really good job of. I even thought on Saturday they really locked down when they needed to. But Josh Mallets, like I said, I think he's going to get back to where he was pre-surgery. It's just that slider's got a little more loop. And to your point about being able to recognize it, I think it's because it's not as hard and as crisp as it used to be. He's not able to tunnel it like a fastball like he was in the past. And if that's the case, maybe lean on the fastball a little bit heavier. Try to get ahead with it too. Maybe switch it up a little bit until he gets the feel back for that slider. But all of that being said, I would absolutely be tossing Josh Mallets into the game in any big situation that we come across, though. That's your guy that won you a national championship, one of the best arms out there. So you keep giving him opportunities. And look, even we're sitting here talking about, how to fix Josh Mallets or what he needs to do. He still comes in and puts in his work every single weekend without burying us, right? He gets out of jams. So he's still fine. He's still a really good relief pitcher. Mason Morris comes in after Mallett's inning in 2/3, 2 earned, 2 walks, 2 strikes. Again, going back to that same thing between Mallett's and Mason Morris, they end up walking 5 over a 3-inning span there, and that allowed Mississippi State to take the lead on us going into that 8th inning. And boy, did we really get a big performance from Wes Mendez. He came in and only threw 5 pitches, only faced 1 batter, but that was a really big out that he got there for us. Coming in relief of Mason Morris to get us out of that jam. A guy that I think has really, really been pitching well for us. You're kind of seeing him grow up before our very eyes, the young freshman there, the lefty. His fastball is so easy. It's so effortless every single time he throws it. Great mechanics. I think he's going to be a big-time pitcher for us. So really excited to see what he's going to be able to do. And then, from a pitching standpoint, I know he gave up 2 runs, but the MVP of the night, maybe Connor Spencer. He came in 3 2/3 inning, 51 pitches. He did give up the 2 home runs, but only 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Really gave the Rebels a chance to battle back and take this win on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so. I think he probably got left out there an inning too long, again,
Yeah.
if I had a critique.
But he should have been left out there one more batter, right?
Yeah, well, we can get into that. But, look, you're talking about if I'm going to sit here and say Liam Doyle can go out there, strike you out, punch his fist, nod his head, talk, then sure as hell Johnny Long can hit a bomb and toss his bat. Like, I don't care. He can even step on the plate and flex. Like, I don't care, man. Do what you want to do. Just know.
But you're going to wear one.
Right. Just
you're
going
to wear one.
Just know that there's repercussions, for how you act. If that's what you want to do.
And if you're fine with that, I'm fine with that, if you're willing to either wear one or let your teammate wear one for the way you act, have at it, man. Like, I can tell you, if I would have hit that ball, if I would have hit a home run to go up on Mississippi State, they either would have thrown me out or the next three batters would have been wearing one between the numbers. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm not a hypocrite in the sense that, like, look, I'm going to celebrate. Like, if I do something like that, I'm going to celebrate. So I'm going, you get the same. The problem is that this kid seems to be a bit of a problem, and I think they've really tried to hammer into the umpires that if a kid is celebrating, over-celebrating, throwing the bat towards the dugout, whatever he's doing, then it's an automatic ejection. I think that's why Mike was so upset, was because it was a blatant breaking of the rules, and nothing happened to him. And so Mike did the right thing. Mike did the exact right thing, came out, got tossed. And look, it fired this team up. And
it fired me up. I jumped out of the chair in front of the TV screaming at the top of my lungs. Fired me up to see Mike go out there fighting for his guys. Loved it. But all that being said, totally agree with Hitch. I wouldn't have tossed him. I don't think he should have been tossed for the celebration.
No, I would have tossed him. No, the rule is toss him. He should have been tossed. But I'm okay with him doing with what he did. If I'm the umpire, I'm tossing him because that's the rule. But I'm okay with him doing what he did. Whatever.
Well, this stuff ends if you bring back self-policing in baseball.
Yeah.
Just like that whole ordeal with Georgia last weekend, and then he comes up and does this too.
You just have to know. You have to know where you are and, like, what the stakes of the game are at that point. You have not won the game by hitting that home run. You got your go-ahead home run celebration confused with your walk-off home run celebration.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem there, yeah. So, but yeah, I don't have a problem with him not getting thrown out outside of the fact that it was apparently against the rules. But again, if you let baseball teams kind of police this whole ordeal, then this doesn't go near as far as it did on Saturday, or if it did, it wouldn't happen again. That's for sure. But anyway,
everybody just
Braden Jones comes in.
Just let the kids just lighten up. Like, just let the kids celebrate.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, totally fine with it. But so anyway, the Rebels here were down by 4 runs going into the 8th inning. Things were looking pretty bleak. We were on the verge of losing yet another series to Mississippi State in baseball, this time at home once again. And boy, that's when things really started picking up for the Rebels there. Hitch, you look up and down this lineup, and you've got guys, Ethan Leger going 3 for 6 with 2 RBIs and a walk. How about Campbell Smithwick out there in right field, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs and a walk there on Saturday? I thought he played really, really well out there. Really showed me something this week with or this weekend with the way he's able to swing the bat. I know me and you talked about it earlier in the year when he was playing catcher. We really liked the at-bats he was putting together, but for the lack of a better word, such a liability behind the plate, and couldn't keep running him out there. Getting him in right field and getting that bat in the lineup kind of seemed to jumpstart these guys a little bit, particularly at the bottom half of the lineup where Ole Miss has really struggled this year.
Yeah, the bottom half was good, last night, and situational. But yeah,
real good.
I mean, he hit a couple of balls that were, barreled up. I think it was his first 3-hit game. Yeah,
it was
great. it was good to see him in the lineup. I hope he continues to hit.
Yeah. And just to tell you how good the bottom of the lineup was, Braden Randall bat ninth. He went 2 for 6 on the night and still left 5 guys on base. That's how good the bottom half was. Braden played a really, really good shortstop for the Rebels this weekend. And then Jackson Ross, obviously, with the walk-off there. Goes 3 for 5, 2 RBIs, 2 walks. Dropped him down in order, down into the 5th spot, I Bleav it was, all weekend. Really responded. And kind of at that same point, not only did you drop him down to 5th, you bump Will Furness up to Will Furness is 5th. Jackson Ross was 6th.
Jackson Ross was 6th.
Okay. So you get Furness at 5th right there. I thought he had a really good weekend, particularly Sunday. Obviously, he hit the home run, really smashed a single there to right field.
Both other
and in a bat earlier. Yeah, went the other way. And but again, Saturday he really struck some balls well. Again, too, it seems like his swing's really coming around, and if the Rebels can get that bat going, especially behind Hill, Groff, Fisher, and Leger, the way they're swinging the bat, because Hill really came alive for us on Sunday. We'll get into here in just a minute as well. But is there anybody that stood out for you from the lineup standpoint Saturday?
I love Groff in the 2-hole. Like, he didn't have a great day, but I don't know, something about Ethan Groff, and I can't even tell you why. It's not like he's a great, or I guess he could be, but he doesn't showcase great bunting skills or anything. And I don't know, but he seems like a guy that has really good at bats, and if Luke Hill gets on, right, he can work a count and allow Luke Hill to steal second base, and then he seems like a really good hit and run guy. But I mean, the one guy in the lineup that we should talk about for the entire weekend is Ethan Leger. I mean, he put on a show this weekend.
He did.
And there was one point, I don't even know if he listens to this, but there was one point where he came in from the field and the camera caught him coming into the dugout, and he had this smirk on his face. He had this smirk on his face, like, yeah, I'm feeling it. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, okay, let's get it to Leger, and we'll win this game. And that's what happened.
Yeah. It was kind of that same look you got out of Andrew Fisher when we played up in Tennessee earlier this year. Every time he'd come back from the dugout, right? Leger was incredible. Ross 2 doubles, ton of doubles for Ole Miss in this game Saturday. Groff with 1, Leger with 1. Ross with 2, Smithwick with 1, and Randall with 1. I want to circle back to your conversation about Ethan Groff real quick. I think what you're trying to say is you love him in the 2-hole because you can trust him, right? He can do just about anything you need him to do there. He's going to put together a good at bat. Even when you look on Saturday, he was 1 for 6 with 4 strikeouts, 3 guys left on base there.
What was that one hit, though? What was the one hit?
What was the one hit, Hitch? Why don't you tell me?
It was the double down the line. Late in the game.
So,
it was in extra innings, wasn't it? I think it was it in extra innings, or was it in the 8th?
It may have been. It may have been that one.
No, it was in the 8th.
Okay, was it the one in the 8th?
To tie. It was in the 8th to tie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what it was.
It was a big hit.
100% right. Yeah.
You can always count on him, to come through with the big hit, right? Just like he did, just like you said, he had 4 strikeouts. He was 0 for 4 up until this at bat, I think.
Yeah.
And this at bat, right, in a 1-0 count,
he came through.
He hit a ball right down the line and tied the game. So I love him being in the 2-hole like that. Yeah,
I do too. And kind of like you talked about with Hill being there at leadoff, if he can get on base, which he was able to do a good bit on Sunday, drew the walk on Saturday to get on. But with Groff there in the 2-hole with Luke ahead of him, especially when Luke's able to get on base, there's a lot of trust there. There's a lot of different things you can do because Luke Hill can certainly swipe the bag, but you feel a lot better about sending him when you got a guy like Groff up at the plate. They can do a really good job of protecting him, but not only protect him, but also know when, like say there's a pitch coming in and he sees that Luke's got a good jump. Groff will just lay off of it and let him take the bag, and then he'll continue his at bat after that. I do want to touch real quick, Hitch, on Ethan Leger here on Saturday. He was on second base in the ninth or 10th inning. I can't remember which one it was, but we were trying to move him over with the Bo Gatlin bunt, and he read pitch in the dirt, which was 100% accurate, but that douchebag pitcher from Mississippi State kept it in front of him, knocked it down, was able to get to it, threw him out pretty easily. I don't mind the thought process for Leger there. He reads it in the dirt. You're supposed to go get into scoring position with no outs to try to win the game right. I think it just ended up being a really bad break overall. The reason I say that is I've seen people Saturday night complain about, why do you steal there? Why do you send him? Nobody sent Ethan Leger on that play. He read ball in the dirt. He read it absolutely right. It was in the dirt, but Long made a really good play, keeping it in front of him, knocking it down where he could get to it and make a good throw to third base to have him out dead to rights.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, it was too aggressive.
He shouldn't have done.
And you're right. He read ball in the dirt. The problem is there's a secondary read there, whereas it didn't get far enough away for me to get into scoring position. And I think if I'm speaking for Leger here, it looked like he read ball in the dirt. It hit the dirt as he hit his secondary lead, and when he hit the ground on his secondary lead, the ball bounced away from Johnny Long, and he thought, I've got it. I can get there. And it just so happened. It just so happened to bounce right up to Johnny Long and, threw him. But, I mean, a heck of an effort to try that. I thought he was safe.
I did too.
Even live,
I thought he was safe. Thing is, he should have been safe. He got called out for coming off the bag when he got forced off of it with the tag. The guy landed completely on top of him, going the other way, pushed him off. He absolutely should have been safe. So it should have worked out a lot better than it did. Ethan Leger, I know you're listening to this. So if Hitch has that all wrong, make sure to drop it in the comments to let him know how big an idiot he is, and correct us on what you ended up seeing on that pitch there.
I think if Ethan Leger is listening to this, I think he will. I think what he will say, again, I'm speaking for him, is, I made a mistake. It doesn't happen often, but I made a bonehead play, trying to be too aggressive, and I'm glad that I was able to come up later in the game and come through and help us get the win. But I made a mistake.
Yeah, so I can't wait to come back to the comment section and just be Ethan Leger, and all it is a gif of Will Smith of "keep your name out my mouth," and then slap on Chris Rock there.
Speaking for me, idiot.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. So, but look, incredible game Saturday though. I'm going to give a shout out here to my co-host Hitch. He made the statement back in the 8th inning of that game that said when the Rebels come back to win this game, when the Rebels win, it feels like a season-changing win for this baseball team and this program. And look, it's hard to argue that, because now we're going to fast forward to Sunday here, and I think the Rebels have a Sunday starter, Hitch.
Yeah, color me surprised. They kept running him back out there after a 50 pitch, 6 pitch. I was like, hey. If we've got that much faith in him, if he's stretched out that far, let him keep going, because he is absolutely dealing. And what a great performance. I mean, probably maybe the best pitching performance we've had, definitely on Sunday, maybe all year. I don't know. 6 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. Did strike a lot of guys out, but was very efficient. Only needed 83 pitches to get through 6 1/3, and I think that the crowd gave him a very much needed standing ovation when he came off of the mound. And I told Blake as I was sitting there, he looked emotional. like as he came off the mound, like it really meant a lot
Yeah,
to
he
him
did.
that they were giving
Yeah.
him that, and he absolutely deserved it. And proud for that kid
Yeah.
because
Me too.
being such a big part of the national championship team as a freshman, coming back last year, not being as successful, and then turning around this year, and maybe being that guy on Sunday who really starts nailing down series for us. He would be a huge weapon if he could continue being a starter like this. It would be unbelievable for us to be able to pick up a pitcher of his caliber to be a starter when we've lost Elliott, REBS, all of the other guys that we've lost. So
JT
great.
Quinn.
Yeah, exactly. So Mason Nichols, I mean, incredible job on Sunday.
Yeah. Like I said, 6 in the third, 4 hit, 2 runs, 1 earned, no walks. Again, that's always the key with this team. And it's not just Ole Miss. It's baseball in general, obviously, but I think it does mean more to this pitching staff to not walk people. He did a great job with that. 4 strikeouts. Just an incredible job. And it's not just him starting. He was so effective for us out of the bullpen all year leading up to this too. He's really thrown the ball well every time Mike's giving it to him, whether it be these last 2 weekends starting or coming out of the bullpen midweek and the weekend. A guy that has really pitched a lot of innings and had a great deal of success. So super happy for Mason. For all the reasons you said.
Back-to-back,
what's that?
Good starts. Back-to-back, good starts too. I think he pitched really well last Sunday too. In that game.
Yeah. I do too. Yeah.
Building on something. Get him worked up to 90 or 100 pitches, and I mean, we're looking at a pretty good patchwork starting rotation for the weekend with Riley Maddox, Liam Doyle, and Mason Nichols.
So you're reading my mind. It's exactly where I was going next. When you look at this starting rotation as a whole now, I don't think anybody had it the way it is right now. But credit to Mike Bianco and the players and this staff for, not just setting on something and settling for it. They were out looking for answers. They kept tweaking and moving. And I really think they've got something here with Riley, Doyle, and Nichols here on Sunday. I think we have 3 legitimate starters on SEC weekends, which is really hard to come by. I mean, you look at State, they were, top half of the pitching categories in SEC play throughout the entire year, and they were TBD going into Sunday, right? Even some of the better rotations still don't know what they're going to do that last game of the series. Ole Miss does, and taking Nichols into the starting rotation, it does hurt the bullpen a little bit. But if you're able to get something out of Gunnar Dennis, another guy came in on through 2/3 of an inning, relieving Mason Nichols, 2 walks. He's got to get that under control, but 2 strikeouts to get out of it. He ended up walking in 1 run that went on Mason Nichols' ledger to finish out his line. It's fine,
okay, right? That's the time when bases are you're up 8-1, bases are loaded, right? Give up 1
run out of a gap.
Start over. Yeah. Give up 1 run.
Keep it out of a gap.
Don't give up 3, right? And so as much as we harp on don't walk, and still I don't want him to walk him in that situation either. But if we're gonna do it, let's do it in when we're up 8-1, the bases are loaded. Let's walk that guy instead of pitching to a guy that could really hurt you.
Yeah. So I thought he did a good job coming in. So that caps off a really good weekend in my mind for Gunnar Dennis. He might end up being an arm out of that pen we're able to use. Really sets up pretty well for Ole Miss from a pitching staff standpoint going into next week and our next weekend series. You've got guys, Grayson Saunier, he didn't pitch all weekend. Mendez only faced 1 batter. So you got options for midweek guys there. Simmons, pitched just a little bit. So
Dugout Sam didn't pitch.
Braden Jones pitched 1/3 of an inning. Is that right?
Yeah.
2/3.
He was up today. He was up warming up today. But I don't know that he got in.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
So pitching staff's really lining up well, and then you look at this lineup, and it was the only guy that struggled, you're going to give a pass because he's the one that won it for us last night on Saturday. Jackson Ross goes 0 for 3, a couple strikeouts, but he still had 2 RBIs in an 0 for 3 game. That's what good hitters do. They take advantage of the situation. He had a couple situations where he had guys on third with less than 2 outs. He was able to get them in. Will Furness, again, a guy that's getting pushed up the lineup. And he goes 3 for 4 with a home run, 4 RBIs, a walk, a run scored. Just a really, really good weekend for Will. Hopefully, this is something that catapults him into kind of like we saw a little bit last year. And it was about this time last year he really got going in SEC play, really started getting regular at bats as a true freshman. And that would be a huge bump for this lineup to get another power hitting lefty going at the top of this lineup.
Any production from the DH, right?
Anything
is going to be huge for this team because for the most part we haven't really had it. And whether or not that's been because it's been platooning between righty and lefty or whatever the case may be, Will Furness showing signs of life. Not only today by going 3 for 4, but over the past few weeks, he's really barreled up, a lot of balls.
Yes.
Over the past couple of weeks, and so I think he's headed in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, and I love his approach. He's so selective at the plate. He knows what he wants going up there. Now, if he ends up getting behind, he ends up struggling a little bit, obviously, as most hitters do. But it's nice knowing that. And he has such good back control, too, on top of his power. He knows what he wants. He goes up there looking for it. And if he's able to hunt that thing down, that's when he really does damage. He was able to this weekend. So that was obviously really nice to see.
Seeing him go the other way, right? When a lot of times, left-handed guys, when they're going good, they're going up the middle the other way. I was watching Tennessee and LSU yesterday before the game, and the first baseman for Burke, right? Man, he is unbelievable going the other way. He hits the ball the other way with so much pop, and it's just a flick of his wrist. And Furness hitting that ball the other way out today. What that's telling me as somebody who's watching him is he's not flying open, right? He's staying closed on those balls, and he's able to hit them the other way. And we all know he's quick enough to, if somebody tries to get in on him, he's quick enough to turn it. But that's not what he's relying on. He's seeing the ball well, and he's hitting it where it's pitched instead of just swinging as hard as he can.
And it's not only the opposite field home run. He had another opposite field shot there into the gap earlier in the game as well before that home run. And then he just hits an absolute missile into the shift that nobody had a chance at fielding. So to your point, Will's really seeing it well. He's putting a barrel on it, and he's hitting some absolute missiles at people right now. Just kind of going down the lineup right here from the Sunday game. Fluke Hill, 2 for 5, and the first 2 at bats he had, I was actually still really impressed with. He goes the other way, really puts a good swing on them. Right at the second baseman, though, it still counts as outs, but it's nice seeing that he has that kind of approach, that he is going the other way. He's still hitting it hard that way. It was just right at him, but still comes out of the day 2 for 5, a couple runs, and then your man Ethan Groff, another big double here today. Bases loaded, and he gets that double to set up Will Furness to end this thing for a run rule. So he was 2 for 5, 2 runs scored, 3 RBI. Andrew Fisher, this is a guy we got to get going again. That has played so well for us so far this year, and hopefully this is a game. He was hitless coming into this game this weekend. But he goes 3 for 4, 4 runs scored with an RBI, a walk, really saw it well. Leger, obviously, we know he hit 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and a walk. We talked about Furness. Smithwick again, 1 for 3 with a run. Eli Birch, really good behind the plate, I felt like. Goes 2 for 4, but that's just a bonus at this point, right, Hitch? You're wanting somebody that can catch the ball behind the plate, that can receive, and that can handle this pitching staff and not give up any free runs and free bases like we've seen so far this weekend. Is that kind of what you saw out of Birch this weekend? That looks like I've lost Hitch, so I will answer that. Yes, I think that is exactly why we saw Birch this Sunday, and he played really well back there. Like I said, 2 for 4 with a run. I thought he handled the pitching staff very, very well, and was able to really, really control the pitching staff, not let anything behind him. So that was nice to see from Birch. Randall, 1 for 2 with a run and RBI and a walk. Just really love the way that kid plays the game. He gets to basically anything hit near him, and today was no different. He played a really good shortstop. He had that one. I don't even know if they called it an error. Surely not.
Yeah, they did. I think so. It was an in between.
No. Yeah, but he was going to cover second again. It's just such a hard play when you're trying to go back right there, right?
No, play. There was another play like in the first inning where a ball got under his glove.
Yeah, under his glove. Yeah, that's right. So that's where that came from. So, but outside of that, I think he's played a really good shortstop. Hitch, what I was trying to ask you before you cut out on me there. Eli Birch goes 2 for 4 with a run. Him playing on Sunday is more of, I need you to handle the pitching staff, not let anything by you from behind the plate than it is offensively. Anything you get offensively is just a bonus from him, right?
Sure. Yeah. Just catch the ball. Just keep it in front of you.
That's it.
Please,
keep it in front
just
of
do that. Just keep it in front of you.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
I can't talk about it.
Yeah, it is frustrating. It really is. But look, Rebels were able to overcome some things, though. Some adversity, especially after Friday night, getting beat 8-0. Really battled back, showed some heart and some fight in this team, and I credit Mike Bianco for that. You know, he knows this is a long season, and when he got out there and he got tossed on Saturday, that seemed to really fire the guys up and spark the comeback, and they really carried that over. I think you're going to see this team really go on a run here. We go to Athens for a big series in Georgia next weekend, and hopefully we can take 2 out of 3 there, get this thing going in the right direction, and make a run for the postseason here.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that game, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whatever. I think it's weird to say a midweek game's a must-win game, but like we got to come out and we can't be flat. That's what I want to see in the midweek. Come out and take care of business, and then let's go to Georgia next week and win 2, right?
Yeah,
at least 2.
100%. Yeah, couldn't agree anymore. Before we get out of here, Hitch, can you take us through the other SEC series, how they ended up this weekend?
Yep. So, Georgia took 2 from Missouri. Kentucky swept Auburn. Man, that was a tough one because Auburn was up 7-0. Was it yesterday? I was watching it. Yeah, they were up 7-0.
Saturday. Yeah.
And I watched Kentucky just walk that one back. That was tough to watch. Alabama took 2 from Arkansas. That's setting up.
And that's a big one there.
I was going to say, that's setting up in 2 weeks, double-decker as a big series for the Rebels. Quietly, right? A&M swept Vandy. South Carolina took 2 out of 3 from Florida. And then Tennessee is trying to sweep LSU. I don't know if that one's gone final or not, but they were up. Looks like 5-2. No. Anyway, they won the first 2 games, so they won the series anyway. That's it.
I'm kind of doing. I'm looking real quick here as you were talking about that Alabama series. That's I was looking at as well as far as it's shaping up to be a big one. Right now, Alabama, their RPI, and I don't know if this is updated from the weekend or not, but currently sitting with a 20 RPI right now. And Ole Miss's problem it's not a metrics problem. They're 28th in the RPI, should go up after this series win against Mississippi State here. Ours is a wins problem. We got to start stacking them. But again, really good first step here for the Rebels. I think this is what's going to get us on a run. So we're really excited to see what happens not only midweek, but particularly in SEC play each weekend. We'll probably sit down and go through the schedule a little bit since we got 2 out of 3 from state. We did it last weekend, and now it becomes a little clearer now that you got this one behind you. There's no easy weekends in the SEC, Hitch, but it's going to get easier than what we have dealt with the first part of the SEC slate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and to be clear, right, that Alabama series is shaping up to be a big one, but the biggest series right now is the Georgia one that we have to play. Like we go up there and take care 100%. Of Georgia. Then we start looking at Alabama and see what they do next week as well, because I think them taking 2 out of 3, I think they're a game ahead of us in the standings. But yeah, I'm ready. I wish it were Friday. I'm ready to watch Georgia.
We're back in, ain't we? We're back in. The Rebels are going to do it. And before we get out of here, I do want to say I don't think it's a coincidence that back 2 years ago when Ole Miss won a national championship, things got started on Military Appreciation Weekend, just like this weekend. That's why I broke out the camo cap over here, Hitch. Rebels are about to go on a run. So, it's just like 2 years ago. Now, we're going to have a different slogan. It's not going to be, don't let the Rebs get hot. If you need the slogan for this year's team, it's not going to be super marketable, but you can head over to the Dids in the Dugout Twitter page, and you can find it. It's been tweeted out before every game this weekend. Obviously, it's worked, so we're going to keep doing it. So head on over there, and you can find this year's version, the 2024 version of Don't Let the Rebs Get Hot. And if anybody wants to get some shirts or something made, you've got 2 of them sold for sure between me and Hitch here. So y'all are welcome.
Yep.
All right, bud. Well, I appreciate you joining me again, Hitch. And we're going to do this again, talk Wednesday to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs coming up and how the Rebels keep this momentum going. So appreciate it once again, and hotty toddy.